Molly, lovely to see you. We haven't seen too much of you in recent months, and I wasn't surprised to see you rocking up ringside in Dublin over the weekend. How was it?
It was good, you know. After my last fight in November, I've tried to keep my head down, stay out of shot, and just try and enjoy my life a little bit. But when Katie Taylor fights, and especially against my mate Chantel, there was only one place I knew I was going that weekend. But great weekend of boxing in Ireland, wasn't it?
Was it a tough one to watch? You're friends with both of them?
Yeah, I think it was. I was like proper like buzzing for Chantel and devastated for Katie. And I don't think if it was against Amanda Serrano and she got the decision, I still think it would be the same, because you want women to have their time, but Katie's like the GOAT, do you know what I mean? So you never want to see Katie Taylor lose.
No. What do you think she should do next?
Sit on it, not be. She'll want to get it back, but just sit on it and just have a think. And whatever she decides will be the right decision, but you don't always want to. Whatever way she wanted to fight again, that's fine. If she didn't, she didn't, do you know what I mean? But it's, a slow process, I think. Do
you think she can get it back? You were up close and personal to it. You've got a good eye for this stuff.
I feel like she finished the second half of the fight a lot stronger. Would Chantel carry the power? It's a lot of what ifs. Would Chantel carry the same power 5 pounds lighter? Would Chantel have more cardio so could push through to the end? You don't know. They know each other now in the ring.
Yeah.
So I know Katie can make adjustments, and she can normally make them in time, but it's a bit like Bivol and Canelo, sometimes popping up. It's just out of your comfort zone of what your body shape's built to do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And I guess at that elite level, the margins are so fine, aren't they?
Well, in MMA, it's every £10. In boxing, it's every 5, and there's weight classes for a reason. Do you know what I mean?
Like everyone else in Dublin, you had a chat with Conor McGregor as well. What did he have to say for himself?
He's just shouting a lot, really, at the referees, or he's really enjoying himself. I think he had a big part to play in sponsoring the event, and he's a pioneer of our sport, isn't he? I was just sat there looking at the back of his head like, oh my God, Conor's there. Do you know what I mean? He gave me one of his forged stouts to try. I had a little sip, and then I gave it to Carl Frampton's wife, Christine. So obviously I'm a fight camp, but it's good stuff. It was good stuff, yeah.
Not bad. You fighters, I know whenever you meet up with each other, you're always sizing each other up, and you look at human beings differently, don't you?
We do, yeah.
Does that look to you like a man who could be fighting later on this year at the top level?
You look at him, and he's always in shape. Do you know what I mean? Like literally, the fight was Saturday. Sunday or Monday, he's out on a bike riding through Dublin. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And he was on the ale the night before. I was like, he's a machine, this man. But I watched his documentary recently, and he's a showman. So what he shows to a camera on a night out, you're not seeing what's going on behind closed doors. And I can pretty much imagine he knows when he's coming back. The UFC now, he's just playing on when it's going to come back, and he'll be priming his body ready, because Chandler's no slouch, and Chandler's probably a really athletic opponent who, will push him and his cardio and his muscles into later rounds, so he'll be switched on.
What do you think Conor's still got left to offer the sport?
I think he'll always have something. I feel like he'll really struggle to not compete anymore. I think all of us will struggle not to compete anymore, but you can just see it. He loves it. It's in his DNA. Like, it doesn't even matter if it's MMA. He's always watching the boxing. He's always watching the MMA. He's always tweeting about it. And I don't know. I think he could be like a Dana White after it all. Do you know what I mean? Just running promotions. Just you can sell fights. The world's his oyster still. I don't know how many more fights he's got left in him. Don't know how long the body will last and hold up. Do you know what I mean? That anyone approaching the twilight years of your career, he won't never want to fight at a lower level. So it's how long can he stay with the top? Is how long his body will let him, I think.
Let's talk about you. Before we talk about your fight coming up, let's just go back a second, because I think people who follow the Molly McCann story, they see how high the highs are, and they can maybe imagine how low the lows are. So when things go well, they live through you and they feel it. When things don't go well, maybe they worry about how you're going to cope and how you're going to be. Yeah. How have you been since your last fight?
I think that's a really fair analogy, to be fair. I feel like after the fight, I was on my knees, like I'd give everything that I have for the last 10 years of doing the sport, and you're not taught how to lose, are you? You're only taught to win. And I really grieved it a lot, and I didn't know what my role would be because I was that sore. And I'd done a little bit of a vlog, and I called it Me, Myself and Molly instead of like anything to do with the meatball, just to show people like what my life actually entails and how hard it is to put your best foot forward when you're dying inside. And I feel like sometimes as women we always just have to get on with it, and sometimes not even being a woman, sometimes being a fighter, you just know how to, you feel like dog poo, do you know what I mean? But you still have to be able to push through it. And I think I just showed the world literally like I'm really struggling to find my place at the minute without like needing pity or self, like I was just like, it's just hard. Like I've experienced the worst moment of my career in a dream set, and that was MSG. So like if I didn't sit there and wallow for a bit, then I shouldn't be in the sport, do you know what I mean? But yeah, it wasn't tough in terms of like mental health. Like it's probably, I didn't really struggle mentally thinking, oh, I don't want to be here at the minute. Like that was all before that, do you know what I mean? I feel like I just had to ground myself, put some roots in, do you know what I mean? Bought a house, settled, slowed down. Took step backs from the charities that I was working with, because it's hard to carry the weight of a charity and the well-being of people in my community when I'm struggling myself, do you know what I mean? So I had to take a bit of a backward step from weapons down and just be involved in little margins as opposed to being the figurehead of what's going on, and just compose myself and rally myself up. And you can't fight when you're not all there and when you're ready to do it, do you know what I mean? And sometimes you're lying to yourself. Like when you've won a few fights and you're injured, or like you've got nothing left in the gas tank in terms of like the media train that you have to go on, and you will have seen that with like me and Paddy and Darren and Leon's been on some mental media train for like the last year and a half. It's like you have to pay the piper for that in the end. And then I was bringing it back to football, like when like Man United or Liverpool or City have had these really good seasons, or Chelsea, the players are never really the same. They don't have much for the seasons after because they've given everything to every game and to all the media, do you know what I mean? And it's the same in fighting. And I think there was no steam left, so I had to kind of like fill my cup up again.
Right.
And I feel like I'm good for it now. I decided in January that I wanted to start training again. And then it was the 10th anniversary of me walking into the gym on February 23rd, and I was presented my 11th fight bout contract for the UFC on that day, and I was like there's some form of alignment here. It was made for now. I'm a firm believer in fate, and you know, I do know you make your own destiny, but I just felt like there was something that felt right about the numbers in this one. So since then I've just sucked it to them. I'm just every day, boom, 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 boom.
Sounds like you've found peace with it. You've made sense of it all.
Yeah.
Would a younger Molly be able to do it the way you've done it?
Do you know, we've started MMA a few weeks off my 24th birthday, and we are brought up raising ourselves in this sport, and it's been in the last like 3 years as a human being, I've completely rounded myself off and understood what it takes to be a person who has responsibility. And like when I look at female footballers a lot and I go, you've got not one bit of personality to you, or male footballers. Why don't you give more? Do you know what I mean? And it's because like they can't do too much because they're just like, you have to code of conduct for this and this. And within MMA, our relationship with fans is a bit more like, we have a bit more of a vibe, I suppose, because like they can completely see us for who we are and we see them for that, do you know what I mean? So learning that I can't just kick off on everyone when they're giving me stick online, or I can't always stay out till 3 in the morning, I've got to go home at 11 because my life's completely changed. Or is it cool to be out doing certain activities when little girls are looking up to you? Because it was never little girls who was looking up to me, do you know what I mean, or little boys, it was just the older ones who watch MMA. The demographic has changed in what I do, so I had to change with that. And I feel like a younger Molly who hasn't been exposed to all the situations I am now wouldn't have been able to. But if I was in a different sport, would I have been coached in a different way and helped a little bit more? I think so. Do you know what I mean? But peaks and troughs of what I do, and there's a lot more positives to what I do than I think other sports.
You're more low energy now than when me and you have talked in the past. It's been a long day, that's probably part of it.
2 days on this media tour, yeah.
Is that hunger, that drive, that fire, is that still there though?
I think sometimes it'll obviously depend if I've just had the coffee. And I really do enjoy these kinds of things, because it's nice to get the recognition that we deserve and to spread the message. But before that last fight I was calm and collected, and the fight before I was calm, but the other ones I was always hyped for the crowd and the fans. But I know I'm putting the work, and we're nearly in June. I've been in the gym since January. I'm like a completely different shape to what I'd normally walk around. I'm working so hard in the areas, there's nothing more that I can really do apart from slow down. And you have fire in the belly and ice in the mind, you can normally flow well and do good stuff, do you know what I mean? So I feel like I'm coming to that part of my career where I'm peaking and I'm priming in terms of IQ. And physicality, I suppose, the same. So I'm not going to get much better than where I am now. There's still a lot to learn in the game, because the style of fight that you fight against will always change, and the style of fighting, it's like football, or the styles of play and how you hold possession, or how your offensive and counter-attack will change in football. It'll change in fighting, because someone will start throwing a calf kick more, so the stance changes, so your strikes change, do you know what I mean? Or someone's more heavily front foot forward trying to grapple you, so you have to change again. And I don't know, I'm well versed to it all now. It's my 11th fight in the UFC. I am a veteran now, aren't I? And I've just learned. I think, mate, the school of life has taught me a lot. The losses have taught me a lot, and nothing worse can happen to me than what happened to me on the 12th of November, so I'm here for what else is coming.
Should we look ahead to July 22nd?
Let's do that, yeah.
Why is Yulia the right opponent for you now?
I don't say no to opponents. I'm just a yes woman, I suppose, because I believe if you want to be the best, you fight the best. Stylistically wise, that doesn't always work well, and I feel that I'm fighting an opponent who's dropping down 10 pounds, whose number one discipline is kryptonite to mine, but I feel my attributes are kryptonite to hers. She'll be slower, yet she'll be stronger. She'll have a slower grip, and she'll be like a snake and just try and constrict and slow me down. And I'm going to be too fast on my style. I'm going to be able to, I feel like past a fight's 15 minutes, 35 minutes, past 7.5 minutes, she's going to go. And she won't be able to keep the pace with me. I feel like when you fight this kind of fight with this style of opponent, you get out of the first round and you're all day. They're most dangerous the first 3 to 4 minutes. But I think you're coming into the light. I know Anthony Joshua says it's the Lions Den, but it is. It's like you're coming into the O2 against a British fighter. The crowd's always there for me, and I feel like, I don't know, I always give the crowd what they deserve, do you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Are you still going to have the same bullish confidence when you walk out of the O2?
Yeah, nothing changes. Look, I've lost 4 fights in the UFC. I'm still here. I'm still one of the fan favourites. I'm still one of the most exciting British fighters on the roster. Most people, if they know MMA in England, they'll probably know me, and to be a woman and carry that in this sport, I'm very proud of that. But what makes me me is I'm always on the other side of a 5 to 10 reach advantage. I'm always the smaller fighter, and I've always got an uphill battle to climb. So the fighting IQ suggests you can't let them dictate the pace. You always have to dictate the pace. So my fighting style can never change as long as I'm on that deficit. I feel like my demeanour in the last few fights has started to become a bit more cold and less emotional. Do you know what I mean? I haven't got to scream at that person. I'm just in there, I'm just focused, and I know I've got to get the win. And I really feel like me and the O2 have got a great relationship. This is bout number 4. I said before, I've nearly lost an eye in one fight, 2 elbows in the other. And I can't wait to see what's coming for this one.
It's never a dull moment, is it?
No, I mean,
never.
Honestly, I won on I think it was March 16th in 3 or 4 years ago. I broke my orbital bone at the beginning of that round, and I gave everything I could. That fight, that first one last year in March with the elbow, I give everything of a mixed martial arts fight, and then that last fight in July, I solidified myself as like, it wasn't a fluke. I told you I could do it, and I'll do it again, so, oh God.
You still love this, don't you?
Yeah, I only feel, you'll hear this from some fighters, the walk to the cage, you're unshackling heaviness and doubt and fear, and in that moment you expressing yourself with movements and with passion, and it's like, I want to outdo you, and I'm going to do it in here, and people are going to roar, and I'm going to feed off that and do it in even more. And the moment I don't enjoy it, that's like after that last fight, I didn't know if I had the minerals to overcome that loss, and I realised it was just grief because I give that much to the camp. And then I feel like there's no pressure. There's probably maybe more pressure on me to win this than there was the last, but I feel like I just want to go in there and absolutely mufti the girl. Do you know what I mean? Like, show her what it's coming to the O2 is all about. Do you know what I mean? It's not a right to fight in the UFC. It's not a right to fight in the O2. It's a privilege. Do you know what I mean? And we're both privileged to get in there.
Speaking of things you love, how's young Patrick getting on?
He's all right. He's getting married. I don't know if this will go out before or after, but he's getting married. So I can't wait for that. He's just come out of the boot, so he's able to do a lot more S&C. So if you can imagine, someone's identity kind of relies on them. Like, he's got his Unreal podcast, he's got his vlogs, he's got his brand in America where he's selling stuff, and he relies on his fighting because it's who he is. He is the baddie, do you know what I mean? And I think I struggle when I'm not fighting. I can know when fighting's taken from you, it's a difference between just going to have some time off because I need it to, you've got to take time off, completely different. And he has a bad go of it when he's injured, I think, because he's just...
Is he struggling?
I don't know if he's struggling anymore, but who wouldn't be when people are giving you stick for your last performance when you'd only had 1 foot and then you still managed to win, and it's like, well, wait till... I just know the fire that's burning inside of that boy, he's gonna come back special, and I think it'll just silence people and be like, I know he'll take a tough... It'll be given who he's given, but I know it'll be a tough opponent, and he'll just be able to silence, and I think just be like, told you, mushrooms, like classic Patrick, do you know what I mean? But it's like, I've seen him grow in front of me as from the Cage Warriors days and the UFC days. He's had a journey like no one else. He's wanted the journey that he's been on, and the eyes to be on him, and with that a lot of responsibility and a lot of pressure, and he doesn't seem to crumble underneath it. Do you know what I mean? Could I carry the weight of the way that Patrick Pimblett carries? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? It's a tough one.
I think in some ways you do.
Maybe.
Different, but
different.
There's a lot of weight there as well, isn't there?
Yeah, I suppose, like, we complement each other well because we carry the polar opposites of each other. For women, he's for men. I'm for the blues, he's for the reds. We come from the north of Liverpool and fight the battles for our city, and sometimes people don't like Scousers or they don't like what we stand for, and that's okay, do you know what I mean? But I suppose, yeah, there's a lot of naysayers and we like to prove them wrong.
You're going to give a toast at the wedding?
No, I think I won't be on the ale and I won't be eating that much because I'm in camp, but it'll be the first time I'll probably be sitting back going, oh my God, is it really what I'm like? Do you know what I mean? His Laura, his fiancée, is a really good friend of mine. I just know she just can't wait for this day because they've been waiting for it I think they're like 12, 13 years in. Do you know what I mean? So like they can have this day, she'll finally be a Pimo. She'll be Laura Pimo. And I think they're more excited for the party, the DJs that are going to be playing to be walking down the aisle, I think. But I was like, could you imagine someone just plays his walkout tune as he walks down? Yeah, it's something mental. One of his mates will end up doing it, you know what I mean?
The little walls came in on you.
Laura, we always joke, because she's like, our first dance is going to, she just loves She Is a Belter by Jerry Cinnamon. It's their song. Yeah. Paddy always used to say, that's my song to you. And every time we go somewhere and Paddy's song gets played, I always make sure they play his as well, do you know what I mean? So, at a hen do. I made sure she had I call her hair walkout. Do you want your walkout on, Laura?
Love that.
Yeah.
I hate to end on a downer.
Everton.
You're going to be at Goodison on Sunday?
No, because it's the wedding.
Of course.
Sorry, but...
So how are you going to follow it?
I'm going to be sat there staring at Patrick because he's going to be sat there like... So I just want to silence Patrick, do you know what I mean? Shut up, Pad. I just need the boys to do the bits.